Welcome to Whole Team Eats Podcast, a 24/8 media production. Ever wonder who trains your favorite athlete? Join Tim Miller as he takes a look at the behind-the-scenes training of professional and collegiate athletes. Tim connects with trainers, athletes, and others in the sports community to share their stories. This podcast is dedicated to highlighting the work of athletes and trainers to inspire action and build community.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to an all-new episode of Whole Team Eats Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 4. I'm your host, Tim Miller, and on this show, I sit down with Ursula Heyner, sports performance coach at Official Sports Academy. Growing up in Italy, Ursula was enamored by sports from a young age. Ursula even took up horseback riding at the age of 5 and was a show jumper. Although sports as an athlete didn't come to fruition for Ursula, she was determined to help others achieve their dreams. This required several years of endless studying, taking a chance on an internship, and then taking a risk by leaving her home country to further her training career. On the show, we discussed several setbacks that Ursula faced leaving Italy and how that in a way helped her to get to where she is today. Ursula has worked with several prominent athletes in a variety of sports. She is part of the NFL Combine training program at Official Sports Academy and trains the Cavinder twins as they train for basketball. It is my pleasure to introduce Ursula Heyner, sports performance coach at Official Sports Academy in Frisco, Texas, to the show. Ursula, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited to hear your story, and you have a great story from where you started to becoming a sports performance coach and where you've ended up. So we'll dig into that in just a second, but you are our last episode here in 2023, the day before the end of the year here. So we appreciate you cutting out the time, but could you first just start us off? How was training in 2023, and how would you say you as yourself as a coach have grown over the year?
It's been great. So it's been a year and a half now at Sports Academy, and just getting better on a daily basis. It's been huge, and experience as well makes me better. And it's been one of the best year. Yeah, it's like living my dream life. So I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of all the team working here with. So cannot end the year in a better way to just review all my story, and I'm ready for the future.
Yep. And we've seen that you've had quite a year with several athletes, both male and female, of all different sports. Were you part of, and we'll go into this more in a second, but were you helping with NFL Combine in 2023, or is that something you're starting next year?
Yeah, I was assisting Brian McCall, Jordan Brown, on all NFL Combine process, and I was even assisting during NFL off season. So I've been able to join both programs. Yeah.
Wow. And you're responsible, you and your team are responsible for all of them? It's just you and two others?
So this new year, Brian McCall, Jordan Brown, and Mo Wells are the one leading all pro athletes programs, and I'm assisting them in all programs. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see you guys kick it into gear here in 2024 with the Combine and the offseason. You guys are always putting out some good content of the training with those athletes, so we're super excited to see that. And we know you have a great track record working with those athletes and them being drafted and signed by teams. So we know that what you guys do with those athletes is crucial to their future success. But just to take a step back here, and really what we're going to start this episode here today is to tell our audience more about you as a person, and then kind of fast forward your background and where you grew up to where you are today, and how did you get into training. So if you could just kind of tell us that story about your background and how you kind of moved into what you're in today.
Sure. So passion for sports was born as an athlete. So I was a horseback riding show jumper since I was 5 years old up to around 18 years old. And then I didn't make it as an athlete for several issues. And so I questioned myself, what's the best way to keep the sports value close to myself, and maybe how I can help other athletes achieve their dreams. And so I started just reading books about sport performance. I started studying exercise science in college, and then I applied for my first internship in Italy at a sport performance facility. And from there, I started working, getting better, approaching to different athletes of different sports. And everybody knows that here in the States, sports has a big culture. They're best coaches of the world here in the States. And as an athlete, I always wanted to reach my best version of myself. And so that's what I did. I say I want to go over there and and work with the best in the industry. So basically, I make a decision, and so I quit my job in Italy, and I decided to step in the States and start working here. Unfortunately, uh, going deep in my story, I had an opportunity in a facility in Boston, but didn't went through, unfortunately, for some documents issue. So I went back to Italy first, and that was a period of my life that signed my career. But then I believe I never gave up, and Sports Academy gave me a big opportunity to come here and as an internship first, and then everything went great, and it was then I got hired in a way and gave me the chance to stay here at Sports Academy. Yeah.
That's incredible. From where you were, and for somebody, going through college and trying to just find their path forward. I think a lot of us here don't have any clue what we want to do when we're in college. It kind of figures itself out. But for you, it sounds like you knew exactly what you wanted to do from a very young age, and you had a clear path and a clear vision to where you are today. What was that process like? Like, how did you get introduced to Official Sports Academy? How did you hear about them? Was it through somebody you knew, or did you just find them from social media?
So I've been always curious about the sports performance industry, and for me to get better at what I do, I should stay behind the best one to learn the job and to get the best tips because, of course, who has experience in this industry can tell a story. And so I was always searching on Instagram, on social media, or on Google, the best ones. And so from there, I started connections with a lot of coaches here in the States, just reaching out, asking questions. Want to always hear their story, where they came from. And that's how I knew Sports Academy. So it's always been one of the biggest facilities here in the States about training a sport performance. And so I reached out, and they interviewed me, and they had a positive uh, positive vision, and everything went through. Yeah.
And it sounds like you're a perfect fit for them as well. You've come over and they've entrusted you with a lot of high-end athletes, and you're doing a wonderful job from what it looks like. And I'm sure, the folks over at Official Sports Academy would kind of echo that same message that you're doing a great job. So, um, fast forwarding into now, you're at Official Sports Academy. You've been there for a year and a half. What is it like working with these high end players of both sports? Can you talk about what it's like dealing with male athletes and then female athletes and what the differences are?
Uh, Even as a female coach, I don't know the difference because how I can have challenges in the industry or on a daily basis over athletes, even males can have it. It's just like earning respect of both female and males athletes on a daily basis, showing that you know what you're doing, that you're confident, and that you really care about them, that you really like their dreams, their goals, that you want to be part of. You want to like try to elevate them and just read them on a daily basis. That's all. So I don't feel a lot of difference between males and females. It's just being who you are in any situation.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's a great point because you're training an athlete regardless of their gender, right? You're getting an athlete to buy into your programs, to trust the work that you're doing, and communication with that athlete is key. So once you have a clear line of communication and they trust you, then everything kind of falls into place. And you also deal with a lot of youth athletes. Do you find there to be a difference between youth and professional? Like, do you feel extra pressure with professional and collegiate athletes, or is every athlete, regardless of the age, still the same to you?
For pro athletes, there is always a little bit of pressure, um, especially when they're big groups. But I learn how to handle it, always being myself. Uh, don't be scared about the outcome, but always focus on what I'm doing. And I always do what I'm confident with. So even if I need to give an exercise, I always make sure uh, that I'm confident with that exercise, with the work that I'm doing, and keep it simple. So I always do what I feel 100% confident with, and try to keep it as simple as possible, and not pressure or fear of failure overcome me. So at the end of the day, I always remember um, that I'm here for helping them. I'm here giving my best, and then one of the quote that I always have in mind is "Be you because it's more than enough."
Yeah, and once you feel comfortable as a trainer, that kind of shows to your athletes, right? And you feel confident in what you're doing and never second guessing your work. It allows those athletes to buy into your programs because you're so confident in your abilities and you're so confident in the team that you have around you that the players are obviously going to trust you. And then once they start to see results on the field, that's only going to start to build that trust level and buy in with your programs. Um, what is it like working with some like what kind of payoff do you get as a trainer when your athletes perform well in their respective sports? Does it mean something to you? Do you get a lot of gratification from that?
Yeah, and it really makes my heart happy and full of joy, because I know how hard it is to be an athlete. I know even there is a lot of mindset, uh, how strong they need to be even on their mindset. And I know how much it can be tough on a daily basis. So when I see the results coming up, it's I think the best sensation ever is like winning on my personal goal. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do a ton with these athletes, right? It's not just prepping them in the off season, but you're working with them in some cases all year round. So the payoff and the gratification you must get from these athletes entrusting you with their bodies, which is their number one asset to earn a living, right? It must be fulfilling for you as a trainer to see. And you've had some great stories, like the tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
He kind of saw his opportunity, right? There was an injury to Mark Andrews, the number one tight end and one of the best tight ends in football. And it just kind of shows you always got to be ready and always stay at the top of your game. And that's what you've helped somebody like Isaiah Likely do. And he's
And
shown that he can be a great athlete.
I always tell my athletes, especially the youths, like if this will be your job, your body is your office. So I always, rule number one is really to take care of their body. I tell them you need to speak to your joints every day, so they're ready to do crazy things on the field. And so even having a daily routine every day, taking care, even the importance about recovery. Uh, some athletes want to just train as hard as they can, but our recovery process is important as such training, as nutrition, as sleep. So it's not only about training, but it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And there's no rougher sport, in my opinion, than football. So you're dealing with a lot of athletes who have a lot of wear and tear on their bodies throughout the year. And how you work them back after a long season during the off season is something that you've probably put into place and how to get them back up to speed during off-season training. But not only dealing with, we spent a lot of time so far talking about football and NFL athletes and the wear and tear that they go through and the training that they're accustomed to, but you also deal with basketball players, and not just NBA players, but female basketball players. I think I saw you deal with is it the Cavinder? Am I saying that right? Cavinder twins, right?
Mhm.
And what is it like training with them?
It's really inspiring me, as even as me as a coach. He's really making me a better coach on a daily basis. Her passion, her grin, she's always in time, always willing to work, never tired, and really building trust with two females. You can see how powerful we can be. And so she's going to TCU next year, and I'm excited for her. We are putting a lot of work in, and I can't wait to see her crashing on the court.
Yeah, that's going to be great. We're all going to be, watching, and she's a great player, so we're excited to see that. Moving into what a daily week looks like for you, whether that's off season, in season, what is it? And obviously evolves throughout the year with professional and youth athletes. But what is a daily week at Official Sports Performance in the life of Ursula Heyner? What does it look like?
Yeah, I always give a lot of value on my time. So I try to spend all 24 hours of the day as much as I can. So I wake up early, like around 5, around 6. It depends on the schedule before the day before. And I always start the day taking care about myself, about how I feel. So to get awareness where I am and where I want to be in the future. And obviously the connection with God helped me a lot. And then you get ready, go to the gym, and or start early session, or if I start a little bit later in the day, a workout. And then basically I train all day. So I try to have as much athletes I can in a day. And when I'm not training, I'm training myself. Little breaks, time to eat. So I always have a snack in my pocket. So to try to always reach my calorie intake, always a water bottle with me so I can keep hydrated. And then as soon as I get home, I have my last meal and then really go to bed. Read, study. If I didn't have during the day, I always have 30 minutes at least per day to study, to update, and then go to sleep, and then day after begin. Same routine, same schedule.
I feel like every trainer I talk to is extremely structured and extremely regimented. So you kind of fit that mold, but that's good, right? If I was an athlete and I'm looking for a trainer, I want somebody like you who's super structured. And just even in scheduling this podcast, right? It was, I knew how busy you were, and we're here on a Saturday before New Year's Eve trying to fit this in. So I appreciate the time.
Yeah, because
But
we only get better if we work hard. There is no shortcuts. It's easy as it is. Like in experience, time, the more work you put in, the results will come.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. In time, the results will come. And you mentioned studying. Now, is that just self-studying on your craft to get better? Or are you studying for a certification?
So I just finished my master in sports and management in Italy. So I was doing everything online because I'm working here, of course. And then side of my masters, I always have a book in my hand, like always. It can be usually it's all about like training or coaching, art of coaching, or even athlete lifestyle. So the more information I can grab, uh, the better I feel confident with what I'm doing. And then even based on what I'm working on or what I'm focusing on, I'm reading a topic. So it can be speed, it can be strength, it can be recovery, it can be nutrition. It's really like always based on the athletes. And then another thing, everything that I do, it's always based on a science research. So it's I want always the science, I want always the why, I want always a purpose before doing or approaching to an exercise, to a program, uh, or when it comes to programming.
Yeah. So do you do a lot of the programming yourself, or are you just starting to do that?
Yeah, I do programming for myself. So like I programs for all athletes, and I always, I'm really lucky because I work in a beautiful teamwork environment. So I'm always, when I have doubts, I always ask, and so even like the communication with the best in the industry, with people that have experience for me, I'm very like open mind, and I might always like doubting on myself because I think it's a way to get better. So I always search for more information, the
Yeah,
quality.
and I think you're at the right place, right? So you have some of the best mentors in the industry right at your fingertips that you work with every single day, and not that you can't do it yourself, because you obviously can and you obviously have done it already. But I think it's important for every young athlete, young coach, to make sure that they're asking questions, because over time you're going to get better and better and better, and mentors are there for a reason, and everybody in life always needs a mentor, no matter what business you're in, whether you're in training or you're an athlete or you're in another business. Mentors are key. And Official Sports Academy has a few really, really great mentors, so you're in a good spot to grow from there. um, Fast forwarding a little bit here is, you've been here for only a year and a half. You have a master's degree. The future is bright for you. I know it's hard to project kind of into the future here, but where do you see yourself, or how do we see your role evolving over the next 3 to 5 years?
So my vision is to be one of the most valuable coaches in the industry. So I really have high standards on myself, and I feel now I'm in a really good spot and opportunity to grow. So just keep training as much athletes that I can, just getting better what I do, and one day lead as much athletes I can. That's all, and keep inspiring youth coaches, keep inspiring youth athletes, keep inspiring all sports cultures in the states and even on a globally based
Yeah,
environment.
and you mentioned something, a key there, which was inspire. And when you're talking about inspiring, you also mentioned youth athletes. I know before the show we were talking about your work with younger athletes and the youth programs that you have, and it was something that you sounded to be somewhat passionate about. That, can you talk about what it means to you to be able to train the next generation of athletes?
Yeah, is training youth athletes. It's really a topic that I really care about it. They're one of my favorite sessions, because you really don't know where they can be one day. And we know how the sport performance coach and the sport performance industry can impact in a positive way or in a negative way. It depends always on what quality work are you bring it to. But if you train the right way, you can really have a positive impact on that athletes. And I've trained youth athletes a year ago that they were not able even to run backwards, and now parents are telling me they sign in a team. So usually, if you work hard and you give quality work to them, you can really unlock their maximal potential, and they can really surprise you. And even I have the responsibility to um, keep leading by sports values. So building trust, teaching them consistency, teaching them always believing in themselves, building trust. So these all little things, you're building foundation, and someone that can really makes uh, like it can be really a job or a big goal in the future for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head there, was saying you're building the foundation for younger athletes. And we understand how difficult it is for any athlete to make it to the professional level, right? It's only a select few. So that foundation where you're teaching consistency and making sure that they are getting the most out of themselves, and they're believing in themselves and having that uh, you know uh, focus with their training, that can lead into a several different avenues later in life, whether that's in sports or not, right? It's more shaping them as a person moving forward into their lives, whether or not that includes sports or not. So, sports performance is, yes, it is focused primarily on sports, but the impact that it can have on youth athletes in their lives as they grow and start to mature can have an impact far beyond sports. So we do appreciate everything you do with younger athletes. And we've had a few trainers who are super passionate about younger athletes, and you all seem to have somewhat of the same message that it's super important to you as a coach. As we start to wrap up here, just a couple things I wanted to hit on as far as, you've come from Italy and you're here now. What are some of the main obstacles besides, papers being declined and having to go back to Italy? But what are one of the main obstacles you've faced since being at Official Sports Performance or in the training industry in general?
I mean, there are always been a lot of obstacles. Like in life, there are always obstacles. Very like switching in opportunities to get better. Like yeah, documents have been the biggest obstacles ever. But then keep believing, never give up, and now I made it. So this is even something that I want to tell everyone that is listening to this podcast. You never know where you can be um, if you don't try it. So always keep believing, keep trying it, and if you have a dream, there's always a way. There's always a way. No matter what, there's always a way. Opportunity will come, but only if you believe.
That's very powerful, and you are a living proof that anything's possible, and if you are passionate enough and ambitious enough, right? An opportunity only gets present itself for those who are ambitious and pursue those goals that they have set out in front of them. Which leads me into my final question here, and it's saying, you've come a long way to this point. But what advice would you give to your younger self, and would you change anything about your journey to this point?
Really, you need to find what you love, and based on what you love, you can create a vision. And then the only way to get the vision and make it reality is to work, to work as hard as you can on a daily basis, to always be true to yourself and to others, to always keep the sports values as close as you can to yourself, and being you because it's more than enough.
That's awesome. Well, it was great having you on the show here. We really enjoyed hearing your story. You have a very unique story compared to most that we speak with here on the show, coming from where you came from and being a female breaking into the sports performance world. It's not always the easiest thing, and we know there's a lot of hurdles for any coach, but for females in general. So we hope to have you potentially back on in the future. We're going to follow your story from here, and try to get some more female coaches on to hear what it's like in the training industry. So thank you for coming on. And our hope here is to promote your story from here. So thanks again,
Thank you.
Ursula Heyner, sports performance coach at Official Sports Academy. It was great to have you on.
Thank you so much.